All right, welcome back. We did it. We made it to episode number 9. Today's episode is going to be a good one because it's going to be another build in public. When we first got started with this podcast, we wanted to connect it to the North Star of our platform, right? So at Bootstrapper.ai, our true north every single day is to build and track $1 billion of bootstrapped equity on platform. And when we talk about that, it's really a collective goal, right? So it's not us bootstrapping to billions. It's all of us as bootstrappers collectively on platform bootstrapping $1 billion worth of equity, right? The podcast was always intended to be this way to connect that goal with our audience and creating a voice, right? We wanted to be able to interview awesome people. We wanted to be able to learn and tell great stories, collect a lot of learned, lived experiences, and then hopefully shed light on things that we could actually put to work in our businesses towards that goal of building and bootstrapping $1 billion worth of collective equity on platform. In today's episode, we're going to stick true to our roots. We said that every 4 episodes or so, we were going to make it a build in public. We're going to share our journey as a part of this podcast. This is episode number 9, so we got eight already in the bag. We're going to pull back the curtain in terms of what we've learned from the first 8 episodes, and we're also going to share some of the things that are going on. So I'm definitely going to tease a couple of things that we've been working on at Bootstrapper. We're going to talk about a new version of the platform that we're super excited about. And I'm even going to tease something that I've been working on for the past 5 years that hopefully you can get your hands on sometime soon. So hopefully you stick with us, watch to the end. There's going to be spoilers. So spoiler alert, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be dropping in this episode. Stick with us, bootstrapping to billions. All right, so the very first thing that I want to get into, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I want to really talk through, what it is that we've been working on as we've been building this podcast, right? So from a high level, things that are updates, right? From an update perspective, there are a couple of very key initiatives that we really want to align into, that we're trying to focus and rally around. One of them is definitely go bigger on media, right? One of the last few episodes, we kind of exposed ourselves in terms of not being great at SEO. And we also talked about how, we are literally ghosts almost to a certain extent on a lot of social platforms. So we're trying to change that, right? We've been operators. We've been doing this, like living this life for years, right? Years and years and years. And we're trying to change all of this, and we're trying to do it, transparently and authentically in public as we do it together. Rising tides raise all boats. So one of the really cool things that I wanted to announce, one of our first announcements, this is going to be an episode of announcements and spoilers and teasers and all these good things, is we are growing our team, and we're taking somebody on full time to run and lead sponsorships, right? As we go bigger on media, there's a couple of things that I really want to tackle. I'm going to get into it, in a little bit in terms of specifics and what the plan and the strategy is going to be. But we really want somebody to be able to take almost like that operator role and really help lead us in the market when it comes to monetizing media. We believe that if we can monetize the media, then we can get to hopefully that elusive net negative CAC, which is your ability to actually generate profit by acquiring new customers. And, we've shared that strategy in other episodes, so I'm not going to get into it today, but this is literally us taking action and implementation towards that goal. So we'll definitely give you updates as we continue, but big news, we're going to be hiring somebody full-time for sponsorships. Another thing in terms of media, we are going to, or we're contemplating as a part of the second big announcement, launching the lemonade stand that we've been building up over the last little bit. It's actually like the lemonade stand started originally just as, it was I think a Shopify store at one point. And it's where we were placing all of our lead magnets, all the things that we were building, like cool templates and stuff. At one point with our newsletter for Simple Profits, when I was going through the integration process, because our newsletter was a buy and build in public, right? So I acquired newsletters, I integrated them, and I did the entire thing in public over a course of 6 to 12 months or something like that. And one of the strategies that worked really, really, really well for us that allowed us to I think retain a lot of subscribers and create a lot of goodwill and value was I dropped templates like every single day. So when I was going through that process, it was a daily newsletter and I was running daily sends and I was creating templates tied to the content of every single newsletter and I was sharing them. So we have all of these templates from the newsletter. And then also we have all of these collective templates and documents and like business documents and spreadsheets and business tools that we've just been able to collectively build up over 15 plus years of doing business, running accelerators, doing the advisory, all this stuff. So we have like a library. It's really like a digital library of goods. And we first wanted to use it as lead magnets in what we set up originally tied to our community, which was a Shopify store. And we were trying to use that to actually get us to net negative CAC. That's probably maybe another good episode to get into at a later date. We could go to deep dive as to what worked and what didn't work there. Newsflash, cheat sheet, spoiler alert, it didn't really work for us. We don't do it anymore. So there's things that we could learn from what not to do, not necessarily what to do. Today, we have it in the platform and this growing library of digital goods that you can get access to as a user. And what I'm thinking about doing is just making it publicly facing. I'm almost thinking about like relaunching Bootstrapper.ai, right? And making it so like at the very top, you still have your hero or whatever. But at the bottom, I'm almost thinking about making the whole bottom of the page almost like a content media platform and just making all the lemonade stand materials, right? So like the lemonade stand is like inside of the platform. You can get access to, all the templates and talent and tools and agents and profit flows and boot camps and all that stuff. Right. So it's like a cool little digital library of goods. I think I'm going to make it like publicly facing on the homepage and then tie that back into our growth for the newsletter and some of the other properties that we want to, spoiler alert, launch tied to going bigger on media. That gets us to the third point on go bigger on media, which is to verticalize. I think we are going to start to verticalize our content. Inclusive in that would be this podcast. So I almost want to start to label these episodes based off of whether we're building equity, unlocking capital, or talking about exiting with ownership. And I want it to be like build equity episodes being something like this to a certain extent, or something where the topic at hand is tied to the ability to build equity, right? So maybe we're interviewing somebody and they're doing a screen share. I just got on a really cool screen share where we were walked through exactly how to create AI faceless video like TikTok accounts, and it was pretty cool. And like I want to show more of like literally teach, train, equipped type videos where it's either a build in public or it's a teach, train, equipped or something like that. And I'm going to tie that to the build equity component of Bootstrapping to Billions. Then I think I want to do like specific capital ready episodes where it ties to what we're doing on the private credit market, right? So with Bootstrapper Capital, we are trying to redesign the capital markets for bootstrappers for SMBs, right? So we're trying to literally redesign the private capital markets right now, specifically private credit. And that's also tied to our platform and a lot of the work that we're doing, where we're trying to build out a marketplace. And I want to make like a market dynamic in, build the future private capital in the Bootstrapper.ai platform, where there's more of a competition and there's a bid-ask system for price mechanisms on private credit funds. And through that market competition, we can hopefully competition drives down price. And then also through the platform of what we're building, which again, teaser, where I'm about to, share something that we've been working on in terms of refining what we've been doing off of lessons learned. I think like we are really getting close to building a killer AI powered SaaS tool that actually delivers equity getting built in a business consistently over time. And I think we're getting very, very, very good at identifying the risk that will kill a business over time. And I think we're getting even better, or potentially the best in the world, at proactively not only identifying, but removing that risk in your business. And because of that, that's how we're building equity in businesses. But not only are we building equity that way, we're also hopefully decreasing the default rate. And I think by decreasing the default rate and also adding a better market competition, I can drive down capital costs. And if I can drive down the cost of capital, because lower default means that the cost of capital from risk, right? Default rate typically gets applied and carried forward to the folks that pay back. If we can reduce that, we can reduce the cost that gets carried forward, paid forward. And then through competition, most business owners are only going out and trying to get like maybe a couple of bids on capital. I think I can create a really dynamic capital market where we can get bids and competition from a lot of private capital partners, and through the both of those things drive down cost of capital price, and everybody wins, right? Private credit funds still hit their targets, IRRs. It's simpler, it's better because it's data driven, AI powered, and for you as a business owner, it's going to be the best capital that you can get in a really simple and safe, hopefully safe way to hopefully build sustainable equity over a long period of time. So super excited about that. We're going to probably do capital ready interviews, and that's going to be speaking to hopefully fund managers that we're working with and other capital allocators, and trying to show the other side of the table. And a big part of what we do with our product is to design it around the other side of the table, right? So a lot of what we're doing is taking like a professional diligence-based approach and building that proactively so that you as the owner can do it while you're owning the business, remove that risk and increase the value. That's how we build equity, right? I think like showing the other side of the table is going to make for good content. So I'm thinking about the other would be capital ready, and then the final would be exit ready, where we talk to folks that have gone through acquisition. It's kind of like 2020 hindsight. What do you wish that you could do? We'll probably roll out definitely verticalized episodes of the podcast, maybe eventually verticalized podcasts onto themselves. And then we'll probably back this up with newsletters and maybe even little micro communities. We're not sure, as well as maybe simple micro SaaSes. The other thing that I want to really announce big is, in terms of an update spoiler, we're launching the V2, or we're planning the launch of the V2 of the Bootstrapper.ai platform. Super excited about it. We've been running for a little bit now. Uh, for those of you that are familiar with the journey, right? This has definitely been a journey over years, right? In terms of what we do in the platform, we've been doing this work for ourselves for a long time, like 15 years, if not longer. We've been doing it with clients through our advisory firm for like 5 years. I've been systematizing and productizing the process of how we build equity, long-term equity management with clients in the books and things for many years. There's a book that I've been writing for like 5 years. That's the third new book announcement. That's like an epic an epic novel, an epic workbook. But it's everything. And the job to be done was to distill all of that in terms of a proven profitable process into our platform. And that's what I really wanted to capture at first. And that's how I knew we could deliver the build equity promise. Is we know the process works. We've been doing it for a long period of time analog with clients. The thesis was if we put it into software and then facilitate it, support it, then the software would do a lot of heavy lifting. We could lower the price, we could increase accessibility, we could support more people, we could build a better market and achieve our goals collectively as a whole, have more impact. And the software, it's been a journey, right? Like we've gone through multiple different approaches of how we're executing the software. At one point in time, I don't think I've shared it publicly yet, but we were in an acquisition process. We actually went through many acquisition processes where we were going to buy existing software and then build it into what we want. One of them was with a zombie Y Combinator backed startup that raised a ton of capital, money, and invested it into a really great product. We weren't able to get the deal done. We went through similar diligences with a number of other folks. One of them is a buddy of mine who I've known for years, who has done really, really cool things in the space. And he actually happened to just build something himself because he wanted to do something similar, living in the space, living this life. I hope to have him on the pod some point. I'm not going to call him out right now, but he went through a acquisition. And because of the acquisition, he wasn't able to do what he wanted to do. And he needed to go through disposition and kind of get rid of the things that were creating risks. One of his things was a platform that we wanted to buy and try to do something similar. We weren't able to get the deal done with him either because it would have tied us into this other acquisition that he went through and put us into potential risk with a key partner that we wanted to necessarily not have to deal with at the beginning, right? So we ended up going and we tried to build. We went through the acquisition, buy, then build. Then we went through just like the build process. Uh, we did it all. We've done, old school code it. We've done new school vibe it. We've done a mixture of both, which is kind of where we are right now. Like what we've kind of learned is if you take really experienced people and you empower them with these AI tools, you could build, and then you simplify the product, you could build really great things that function really, really well. And you could do it remarkably at better unit economics or economic cost than it used to be, right? And it really is kind of a new world out there. For me, this has been a really painful process because I've had this big vision. I've had the hard work. I knew that I wanted to bootstrap this whole thing. So I was committed to that journey from the beginning, and I wanted to authentically do it. We only wanted to use the revenue that was flowing, the profit that was flowing off from our advisory to be able to fund any of this stuff. So I also I put constraints on myself in terms of how we could do this. And we wanted to dog food it all. And my vision is like one day when we truly achieve our North Star goal and probably add an extra 0 or 2 zeros to it and just keep leveling up. At some point, this is going to be a really remarkable story. And I just want to make sure that we're checking all of the boxes along the way so that as we're traversing this journey, we can really lay some great chapters for the future. So it's been a journey. And we launched the current version of the platform. The first real big launch I did on my mom's birthday. It's public. I'll talk about it. It's in the newsletter. You can find it. I did it because I'm super corny and I'm pretty symbolic about things like dates and stuff and things that are important to me. So I pushed it and I launched it, and it just kind of was a failure. It blew up. It just wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't. There's a lot of things that didn't work out. And we went back to the drawing board with it. We've piloted the platform a ton over the years. And right now, the stats are looking pretty good. We have a couple of milestones that we want to celebrate. I've yet to announce this publicly, but we've officially reached the $10 million mark in terms of equity built on platform. This version of the platform, I think we want to say has been live since June. I'd have to really go back to the tapes to confirm that. But we had the issue with the launch on my mom's birthday, and then we went back to the drawing board. We did a couple of smaller pilots, and then we geared up for a larger launch again going into June. And then I had the book in July, which the book drove a lot of the users. So we've had 3,000 or so leads come through. We've converted 219 active subscribers at into the platform. We've built collectively 10 million in equity. So we've passed the 10 million mark, which is really cool. And that gives us an average equity per subscriber of almost 50,000, which is important to me because I'm trying to target the exit studio for folks that come through and go through the exit studio, which in the V2 of the platform is going to be super, super, super great. Super simplified. It's going to be an amazing interactive experience to truly activate you to value fast. But I'm trying to benchmark it against an equity guarantee. And in my mind, I want to pretty much guarantee anybody that goes to the equity exit studio that they build 50K or more in equity. Again, that's an asterisk. That's not a guarantee as of right now. It's in my mind what I want to accomplish. And the data shows that it's doable and we're getting there on average. We also do have capital partners already on platform in the capital market that we're building out. And we have 43 million in committed capital to be deployed through platform, which is pretty cool. Not really sharing these numbers yet. I want to get this to 300. My target here is 300 active. I want 300 active owners. I'm going to change subscribers to owners, right? As we all exit with ownership. I want to get to 300. I want to get this definitely bigger, but 10 million is pretty, that's a pretty big milestone, especially when we're talking the amount of time that we've been active with platform. Now, granted, you got to take into account a number of these owners, a number of the like our pre-existing clients of ours, whether at Bootstrapper Capital or through specifically our advisory firm LTEM. So, I got to probably pull some things out there. But in general, it's pretty cool. Like we're trending in the right direction. This was like a monster build, right? So like there is so much in this platform that you could do. And when I went after this, it was almost like, I mean, it's funny because this is like every product manager out there is probably like, this is what not to do in a sense. But we've had all of these things and we wanted to kind of like get it all out there if possible. And then systematically through user feedback and experiences, actually start to chisel away what works and then focus on what works. And that's what we think we're doing in this V2. We're really excited about it. The V2 launch is going to be taking literally what's created 80% of the value in terms of building equity and realizing that it's only come from 20% of the functionality and just really doubling down on that 20%. So V2 is all about keep it simple. The V2 version of this platform is going to be so dead simple. It is literally going to be a one page, right? You can get your entire team, you can run your entire company off of one page. So like get your whole team on the same page type of thing. I'm going to show people how you can literally run your business off of one page. And we know that it works. It's a proven profitable process. It works. We're getting it drilled in so that it's super simple to get somebody activated. That was one of the feedbacks on the V1 was, it was a little bit complicated in terms of getting somebody active and activated on platform. And that's why we ended up launching the Exit Studio. And that's like why we built a lot of this stuff out. But still, even though we had all of the, activation modules and all this stuff, simple works. And the goal here is to keep it simple. So like the new version is going to be super simple. You're going to be able to build equity. And what we're really focusing on now is the simplicity of connecting equity and building equity on platform to accessing capital. And we want to make that capital, the unlock of capital, super, super, super simple, super, super frictionless. Essentially, like you don't even know that it's happening because you're just like following this really one simple process. Like I pretty much think we can get it to the point where a business owner can build equity in their business in as little as 1 hour a week through one page and just like following one process of accountability. Like I think we could keep it dead, literally so simple. Any business can do it. Your grandmother can do it. Like you can do it. And because you're doing it, what we're really trying to focus in on is just making sure we're capturing all of the right 100% of the 20% of the things that matter the most. And then like super simplifying the facilitation and connectivity to capital. The other big announcement is I have a new book coming out. We're not sure in terms of when it's going to launch yet, but it's going to be called Ownable, right? And I've been working on this thing for like 5 years. I actually wrote this first. Right now, it is 787 pages of content. And the job to be done is how do I simplify this 787 pages down to, well, newsflash, first note, I think it was like 900 and something pages, maybe a month ago. So I've been whittling this thing down. My goal is to get it to 777 pages because again, I'm quirky like that and I'm a nerd and I like things to be, special to me. And 777 is like a super, I think, lucky number. I want the book to be 770 pages. I mean, this is 777 pages of like 8 by 11. So this thing is going to be a textbook. This is literally going to be a manual. It's an owner's manual. It's literally how to make your business ownable. And it's my entire methodology in terms of how to make your business ownable. I wrote the book, Exit with Ownership, because I knew that I needed to have like a preface of like a stage to set in terms of what I mean, when you're making your business ownable and the why behind it, right? So Exit with Ownership is all about the mindset and navigating through the 5 exits of ownership. Ownable is like the textbook methodology, literally like how to make your business ownable. It is the byproduct of doing this work for years in our advisory. documenting everything with clients, working through the process of how to build equity. And as you know, I want to be the best in the world at building equity. I want to be the Michael Jordan of this game. So it is like literally my playbook, and I'm gonna make it available to everybody. And we're gonna tie it up to the launch of the V2 of the platform. And you'll get the Exit with Ownership book, you'll get the Ownable book, which is like close to 1,000 pages. And then you'll realize, man, I don't want to read 1,000 pages. So then you'll get into the platform and you'll realize, like, oh, all I need is 1 page, and I could do all of this stuff, and I could remove the risk from my business, and I could increase its value, and I can make it more ownable and actually convert it from a liability into an asset. And I can benchmark this equity I'm building every single day and kind of like create a happy life for myself and my team members, put more profit in my pocket, and then seamlessly go on to unlock capital if I ever want it, eventually exit, with ownership in the marketplace. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be really cool. So all of these things are going to come together kind of at the same time. In terms of supporting the podcast side, we are running sponsorships now. So a little bit of data in terms of like build in public on our audience. 90% of our audience from our newsletter and from our media property right now is USA based. This is mainly from Simple Profits newsletter. 82% are business owners who are key decision makers. And our market is really like 1 to 50 million, right? Which is pretty cool. And that's a pretty sweet spot. And that's exactly where we play. 7% are above 50 million. And a pretty cool number, that's a big number, I think. Maybe not. I think maybe the fact that most are business owners is the big thing. But 34% are accredited investors, which means like we really do have a high value audience. And I need to appreciate everybody. Like, thank you, right? Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for helping us, on this journey as we've been able to trust the process, commit to the journey. And our goal is to just make this much better. We do want to monetize this though. So we're at the moment in time where we want to start selling sponsorships on our newsletter. Like I said, I hired somebody now, so we have like somebody full-time to do this. I've never really done this. We haven't done this yet. We want to start building in a monetization strategy. Our newsletter fluctuates between like 45 to 50,000 business owners weekly. The thing is, like, for most of our readers, like 15% of our audience, which I think is a pretty big number, is like super hyper loyal. Like, these are folks that they've received 4 or more newsletters. So it's not like a first newsletter and you've opened, but like they receive 4 or more and they still open 90% or more of our newsletters. And I think this number is actually like 98%, right? So like super loyal audience. 62% of our audience of our newsletter opens over the course of a week. So we may send a newsletter, and I think like the first day it's like 29% or something, like 29.8%, something like that. But over the course of a week, 62% eventually open, which I also think is pretty cool. We want to start to sell sponsorships. If you're interested in a sponsorship, reach out. We're going to bundle newsletter sponsorships with podcast adverts. And we're also going to bundle in boot camps, workshops. Workshops are making a resurgence. And we're going to do that here too. We're going to tie it into the Bootstrapper Live, which is like, I think what we're going to brand our media company, and tie it into like what we're trying to do with the ecosystem. But hosting live experiences is a thing right now. It's like it's 2012 again. We want to do it. We want to do them consistently. We want to create a lot of really great content, a lot of great experiences, and then compound it and do all of this stuff in public and then share the results. From the podcast side of things, again, we want to verticalize. So we're going to have the general Bootstrapping to Billions pod. We're going to try to get SME specific guests moving forward. Some of the episodes are going to be where it's either me build in public, or it's going to be a guest who's actually showing us something, teach, train, equipped. Other episodes are either going to be about getting capital ready or exit ready. And it's all going to be like learned, lived, like learned experience. Folks that are speaking from lived, learned experience, which is the most expensive lesson anybody could ever get or give. It's the most valuable, right? It's time, right? We're going to talk to private credit funds. Like, we're going to talk about private credit markets. We're going to talk about venture capital deals. We're going to talk about acquisitions, exiting, and we're going to talk about entrepreneurship through acquisition and folks sharing stories about their journey building, buying, and selling, right? Bootstrapping does not mean no money. And I want to clarify that. Bootstrapping is a mindset, right? Bootstrapping is a philosophy. It's a belief system. It's right. It's going to be the ownable methodology. It's how to make a business ownable so you can exit with ownership, right? Bootstrapping does not mean poor. And I want to change that. I want to make sure that we set that story straight. So I want to create more content that also kind of illustrates that and captures that. For the time being, where we're at, I think we just passed. I guess I didn't make the update on on this slide. I thought that we did, but we've passed 250,000 viewers of the podcast on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Awesome, like really amazing. We're going to be launching the podcast on all of the other platforms soon. We haven't done it yet, so we're not on Spotify, we're not on Apple, etc., etc. We wanted to build enough of a catalog so that we could kind of launch with like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 great episodes to build that base. There, we have it. We've stuck to the process. We committed to the process. Trust the journey. I think that it's going really, really well so far. Engagement is still low. I want to focus on and fix engagement. I think that by tying what we're doing to maybe more lemon drops, right? So I talked about making the lemonade stand public. I want to tie content that we're creating with lemon drops, like how we drop value, like squeeze the value at a lemon drop, lemon stand, lemon guy. Lemonade stand is the most simple business that you could do, right? So we call them lemon drops. I want to tie content to lemon drops so that we could deliver more valuable content consistently. I think making it public facing and not gating it so that anybody and everybody can have accessibility to it. We can market it, distribute it on different channels. We can tie it back to our net negative CAC journey that we're trying to achieve and our overall audience growth that we're trying to achieve. We can tie those into simple bets that we could share in public as well, and then host more working sessions. And hopefully we can tie up more SME guests with lemon drops. So like actually go through the episode, get the content, extract the content. If you've been reading the newsletter, watching me on LinkedIn, I've been really trying to do this lately. I started it with Lexi Grant, and I've continued it through. I've been trying to extract my takeaways, share my takeaways on LinkedIn, share my takeaways on the newsletter. And then what we want to be able to do is tie to then some sort of valuable deliverable, drop everything on the lemonade stand, create the content, try to create a content flywheel, system of reciprocity. Hopefully people get value so they share it, type of thing. And then create more experiences. And the thing that we haven't done, and it's been a while since we've done this, and I know this, we've kind of we wound down the community a while ago now because we focused on platform. I want to start back with boot camps. I think that hosting boot camps, live learned experience, teach, train, equips, I think that those are going to be very valuable moving forward. A lot of people are just spitting out a lot of stuff with AI. It's almost getting impossible to determine if the source is qualified to even share. And like, you got to, it's always like, go back to the source. Like, where'd you get that from? Where'd you hear that from? Are they trusted? And it almost feels like at this point, everything is AI generated to a certain extent. So it almost feels like when you're really trying to learn something that's worth learning, to then do it, just showing up and having a live lesson where somebody's actually, a human being is actually teaching you it, seems to be almost like the BS test in a sense of, okay, let me focus my time, effort, energy here and absorb this content. I think the same goes for YouTube now. I do think that building video, I think long form video is going to see a resurgence because of that reason for folks that can create content and value in their content specifically, which I'm trying to get better at. Hopefully you give me feedback in the comments on this video. And then hosting boot camps or workshops, what people call workshops or webinars, right? To be able to share. I also think live experiences are making a comeback too, like true, like live experience, even if it's just founder like dinners, right? I was on a call a couple of weeks ago and I was talking to somebody who runs a media company. And again, I'm trying to figure out how to build our media business bigger and trying to learn what people are doing that works. And he shared with me like his entire strategy is just putting together intimate dinners of 10 to 20 people. And he does it in cities around the country, which is cool because then he's the type of guy, not me, I got kiddos and not into that, but he likes that travel lifestyle. And he hosts these intimate dinners and then he gets sponsors for those dinners. And like he's building a very big business on the back of that. And I don't know if you don't hear it, would you think of that? I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So I think that live experiences are making a resurgence, whether it's like an intimate dinner or a full event, and I'm trying to plug in the fact that it doesn't have to be this big thing. It's just like kind of is almost like get started. It's almost like meetups are making a resurgence. I think webinars are going to be big. And I think people can build businesses this way. I almost feel like there should be a little cohort challenge of simple bet challenge of like, if you host one workshop a week for a year type of thing, just do it consistently. You will build a business on that. All right. I mean, that's our updates. That's the roundup for today. Thank you for sticking with us. If you want to sponsor, if you want to reach out, Charvy at joinbootstrapper.com is the point of contact. Hopefully, we can figure out a sponsorship that makes a ton of sense. We want to be able to make this work. It's something that we're doing. We're definitely down to bundle and create value. The audience itself is valuable. So hopefully we can do something together, tie it into a build in public, create value for everybody. Till then, trust the process, commit to the journey. Till next time.
If I could do it all again.
Struggling business? It's time to exit with ownership. Join the Exit Studio. Build equity. Unlock capital. Exit with ownership. Keep it simple.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And
you gotta have that grit, that hustle to make it in this city. Never give up.